Let's go on to objects and object data types. There are various ways in which the object relational database can be implemented. Certain collection types or arrays, an array is really a sequential programming term for what in an object world would be a collection. A collection is a contained list which is contained within another object. Note that Oracle is a relational database. It is not an object database or an object structure. Be very careful using object structures in general in any relational database, because the two methodologies, that is relational and object, are totally different and they generally do not match or mesh very well with each other. Collections or arrays in Oracle. We can create something called a nested table. A nested table is effectively a dynamic array. A dynamic array is an array which does not have specified start and end points, or more specifically, it does not have a specific size or a specific number of elements. It's a pointer. A V-array is a fixed length array. It has a fixed size. In other words, when you declare a V-array, you declare it as having a specific number of elements. If it goes over that number of elements, you will actually get an error or be required to extend the size of that V-array. An associative array is really another form of a nested table. It's actually an indexed dynamic array. It's a dynamic array with an index, which means that it can be accessed a little bit faster than a nested table if the nested table is large, and it can use an index to access a large amount of data with a small piece, that is an index, rather rapidly. Let's take a look at the syntax of various Oracle object collection definitions. A nested table is really a type. A type is in effect the same type of thing as a structure or a class. It's a definition for a tuple or an object. So here is the definition of a table. We simply declare a type as being of table with a structure within that table. This is a table which points to an undefined or dynamic array of varchar2 data types with 32 characters. And here, as I've said, a table is a pointer. I've declared it as being variable name pointer against that type, because that's what it effectively is. And here I've declared a V-array as having 100 elements, which are all integers. And here I've declared a variable against it. The same applies to an associative array. Note how each of these types has a variable declared against it. Again, the type is a structure or a class. It's basically an empty bucket or definitional type of code, piece of code, chunk of code, whatever you want to call it. You cannot use this type directly. You have to declare a variable against it. It's similar to the way that objects work, in that you have to create an object in a class before you can actually put values in it, because the class is really the definition. A table structure is a definition. You can't really do much with a table until you put rows in it. The rows are the objects within the table structure.